There are moments in life when something pulls you in, softly, mysteriously, as if an invisible hand guided you exactly where you needed to be. You might think you clicked on this video by chance, that it simply appeared among thousands of others. But nothing in this universe is random. The reason you are here cannot be explained by logic, only by vibration. Every thought you have ever had, every emotion you have ever felt, every longing that has passed through your heart has sent ripples into the invisible field of consciousness. Napoleon Hill called this field infinite intelligence, the invisible substance that responds not to words, but to frequency. Thoughts are things, he wrote, and they travel faster than sound, faster than light, faster than anything we can measure. What brought you here today was not coincidence. It was coherence. The vibration of your inner world has aligned with the message you are about to receive. You did not find this message. It found you, because you have reached the exact frequency where it could be perceived. The universe moves not by chance, but by resonance. When your thoughts and emotions meet in alignment, you send out a frequency that the quantum field recognizes. It begins to organize matter, time, and opportunity to bring you into contact with what matches that vibration. What you call meeting, accident, or coincidence is simply the moment when the invisible becomes visible. Neville Goddard once said that imagination is the womb of creation. Everything you are living right now was first conceived in the invisible, not as thought alone, but as feeling. The universe is not responding to your words. It is responding to the energy that lives behind them. Every encounter, every synchronicity, every piece of content that reaches you is the echo of an emotional frequency you already emitted. The rational mind wants to analyze this, to break it apart, to make it logical. But the truth is simpler and deeper. The field of consciousness does not calculate. It harmonizes. It gathers frequencies that resonate and brings them together in divine precision. That is why certain messages reach you exactly when you need them. Not earlier, not later. The timing of the universe is not mechanical, it is musical. If you feel that something brought you here, it's because it did. The unseen world is not silent, it's just subtle. The universe speaks through magnetism, not volume. It draws you through curiosity, through feeling, through that quiet sense of recognition that whispers, "This message is for me." You are not here by accident. You are here by alignment. Somewhere in the field of possibility, your soul asked a question, and this is the response. Not a coincidence, but a call. Not a random event, but a meeting between frequencies. You did not click this video. Your vibration did. And in that realization, something extraordinary begins. You remember that every moment, every connection, every breath is part of a divine orchestration, designed not to test you, but to remind you you are never out of place, never out of time, never unseen. Everything unfolds as energy first, and reality simply follows. Nothing is coincidence. There is only coherence. You are the reason this message exists. And this message is the reflection of what your soul has quietly been asking for. When awareness and vibration meet, destiny reveals itself. And it always begins here, in the moment the mind cannot explain.
Most people live as if life were a collection of disconnected events, random circumstances colliding without pattern or meaning. They wake, they act, they react, and they call it life. Yet beneath every apparent accident, beneath every coincidence, There is a symmetry, too perfect to be random. Life is not a series of accidents. It is an unfolding of coherence. The greatest illusion of the modern mind is the belief in chance. To think that existence, vast, intelligent, intricately balanced, would function through luck is like believing the stars aligned themselves without order, or that gravity occasionally forgets its duty. The universe does not play dice. It plays harmony. Every vibration you emit becomes part of that harmony, contributing to the composition of your experience. The ego, however, hates this truth, because if nothing is random, then everything is mirrored. And if everything is mirrored, then life is showing you yourself. That is too confronting for a mind built on control. So the ego invents a simpler story. It's coincidence, just luck, nothing more. But this dismissal is not wisdom, it's defense. It's how the ego protects itself from the accountability of vibration. What we call coincidence is simply the language of alignment. It is how the universe speaks when words are not enough. Every accidental encounter, every unexpected blessing, every repetition of a number or phrase, these are signals of coherence, not chance. They are proof that consciousness is organizing reality in response to the energy you carry. Napoleon Hill taught that the mind is a magnet, constantly attracting the equivalent of its dominant thoughts. But it's not only thoughts that attract, it's their emotional charge. The emotion behind the thought determines its frequency, and frequency determines the experience. To believe in chance is to ignore this law, to act as if emotion does not shape matter, as if awareness has no creative power. Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza call this the physics of consciousness, a field so responsive that it mirrors not what we wish, but what we are. The ego, trapped in intellect, keeps trying to understand this with logic. It wants to analyze, categorize, prove. But the field does not respond to logic, it responds to coherence. You cannot think your way into alignment. You must feel your way there. This is the invisible mistake, the attempt to understand the universe through the very lens that blocks its perception. Analysis fragments what the heart already knows. The more you think about a coincidence, the less you feel its truth. Because the moment you step into analysis, you leave the vibration of wonder, and wonder is the frequency through which the field communicates. Coincidences are not interruptions in chaos. They are glimpses of order. They are the fingerprints of divine intelligence revealing itself through your timeline. Every time you dismiss one as just a coincidence, you close the door on a conversation the universe was trying to have with you. The quantum field is precise. It wastes nothing. Every pattern, every repetition, every alignment exists for a reason, to reflect your current state of consciousness back to you. The events of your life are not random scenes. They are mirrors showing you your own vibration. The universe is not a storyteller. It is a reflector. So when something aligns perfectly, when life surprises you with synchronicity so exact it leaves you speechless, stop and feel, not think, because that is the field saying, I see you. You are in resonance. The 99% call it luck. The 1% call it feedback. And the difference between the two is not intellect, it is awareness. The moment you stop labeling life as coincidence, you begin to participate in it consciously. You move from reaction to creation, from confusion to coherence, from randomness to rhythm. The universe is not random, it is responsive. Every accident is architecture. Every meeting is mathematics. Every coincidence is communication. And what feels like chance is simply the divine reminding you that nothing, not even this moment, happens without purpose.
There is an invisible architecture beneath everything you see,
a living field of intelligence that connects every cell, every thought, every particle of existence. You cannot touch it, but you feel it. You sense it when you think of someone and they suddenly appear. You sense it when an opportunity unfolds at the exact moment you needed it. You sense it when you realize that reality somehow seems to be responding to you. The ancients called it the ether. Modern science calls it the unified field. Greg Braden calls it the divine matrix, and Joe Dispenza calls it the quantum field. But names don't matter because what they all describe is the same truth. Everything is connected, everything communicates, everything vibrates. You're not living inside the universe, you're living as the universe, expressing itself through a particular vibration that you call you. Every emotion, every thought, every breath you release enters this field and ripples through it. The field does not judge. It does not decide what you deserve. It simply responds perfectly, neutrally, immediately to the frequency you emit. Synchronicities are the fingerprints of that response. They are the echoes of coherence between your inner vibration and the outer field. When mind, emotion, and intention begin to move in harmony, you stop attracting and start resonating. Attraction is effort. Resonance is nature. You do not chase, you align. You do not seek, you remember. The reason synchronicities feel magical is because they reveal what your logical mind forgets, that there is no separation. The same intelligence that beats your heart moves the tides, blooms the flowers, and aligns the stars. When you enter coherence, you fall back into that rhythm. Life stops resisting you because you stop resisting life. Napoleon Hill taught that thought, when charged with emotion, becomes magnetized, and through repetition and belief, it draws its physical equivalent. The language may sound poetic, but quantum physics now agrees. Energy follows attention, and when your attention and emotion point in the same direction, the field organizes around that signal. Greg Braden says the heart is not just a metaphor of a feeling, it is an actual generator of electromagnetic energy. Its vibration radiates far beyond the body, imprinting the field with the signature of your state. This means that your emotions are not private. They are broadcasted frequencies that shape the geometry of your reality. When the heart and mind disagree, your signal becomes chaotic, dissonant, unstable, fragmented. But when they agree, when intentions and emotion move together, the pattern becomes coherent, like waves merging into harmony. That harmony is what the universe recognizes as truth, and truth, by its nature, organizes matter. So, when you see numbers repeating, when people appear in perfect timing, when life feels like it's winking at you, you are not imagining it. You're witnessing your own frequency echoing back through the fabric of reality. The field doesn't speak in words. It speaks in patterns, symbols, and sensations. It sends you reflections, not to prove something mystical, but to remind you that you are already part of the design. Every coincidence, every alignment is the field whispering, "You are in sync. Keep feeling this way." And this is why trying to analyze synchronicities makes them fade, because analysis moves you out of resonance. The moment you shift from wonder to logic, you break coherence. Wonder is the bridge between you and the field. It is the frequency of openness, the vibration through which the universe can speak. When you live in wonder, life starts participatory. Every encounter, every silence, every delay is a message from the field, a conversation between the seen and the unseen. The code of synchronicities is not something to be solved, it is something to be felt. You are not decoding the universe is decoding you. When you reach coherence, when your vibration stabilizes in truth, the field begins to move around you like water responding to shape. Reality bends, not because you control it, because you have become aligned with its natural flow. And that flow has no chaos, no accident, no coincidence, only harmony waiting to be remembered.
There is a silence that frightens the modern mind, the silence where control no longer works. The truth is, most people do not suffer from a lack of opportunity or purpose. They suffer from vibrational interference. They are sending one signal with their thoughts and another with their emotions, and then wonder why the universe seems to answer with confusion. Vibrational dissonance is not punishment. It is physics. It is what happens when the frequency of your request does not match the frequency of your belief. You may affirm abundance, but beneath the words, you still feel unworthy. You may pray for love, yet fear being seen. You may ask for divine timing, but live in urgency. And because the field responds to vibration, not language, it mirrors not your intentions, but your energy. Napoleon Hill spoke of faith applied, the fusion of belief and emotion that transforms thought into its physical equivalent. Without that unity, thought is just noise, and emotion is just turbulence. Joe Dispenza explains this as a neurological pattern. When the brain and body operate from different emotional states, the electromagnetic field becomes chaotic. It cannot broadcast a clear signal, so the universe receives static instead of clarity. That static is what we feel as frustration, delay, or bad luck. But it is not bad luck. It is incoherence. When the mind tries to control divine timing, it moves faster than the heart. The heart, however, vibrates in rhythm with the universe. It has its own intelligence, and when ignored, it withdraws into silence. The disconnection between thought and heart is the disconnection between self and source. Imagine tuning a radio. If the frequency is even slightly off, all you hear is static, the noise of almost connection. The signal is there, the message is there, but your receiver is out of sync. That's what vibrational dissonance is. Not failure, but misalignment. The signposts of the universe haven't disappeared. You simply drifted out of range. The more you try to force clarity, the louder the static becomes. That's why overthinking, overanalyzing, and constant self-questioning don't produce insight. They create resistance. The universe doesn't speak through pressure. It speaks through peace. Purpose doesn't shout, it hums. Fear, guilt, and doubt are not bad vibrations. They're simply dense ones. They slow the signal. They're invitations to return to coherence. The moment you stop fighting them and begin to observe them with compassion, they begin to dissolve. Coherence is born from acceptance, not control. The divine never stops speaking. It simply speaks in frequencies you can only hear when your energy is calm. When you align your emotional rhythm with your intention, the fog lifts and synchronicity returns. The signs reappear, not because they were gone, but because you have finally remembered how to listen. Napoleon Hill once said, "Faith and fear make poor bedfellows." You cannot vibrate both at once. To hold faith, you must release control. To live your purpose, you must stop forcing the timing. The universe cannot deliver what you demand from anxiety, only what you allow from trust. Purpose is not a destination, it's a resonance. It is not found through striving, but through remembering. When you return to coherence, when body, mind, and emotion hum in harmony, purpose stops hiding. It emerges naturally, like sound through an instrument that has been tuned. Every time you feel lost, understand you're not off your path, you are just out of frequency. The path never leaves you. It waits patiently for your vibration to slow down enough to hear it again. And when it does,
When coherence returns, life reassumes its rhythm. Synchronicity reappears. Guidance feels effortless. And purpose stops being something you search for and becomes something you are. Because the divine plan is never absent. It is only inaudible beneath the noise of fear. And the moment you silence that noise, what you once called coincidence reveals itself as destiny.
There comes a moment when you begin to see that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Every experience, every emotion, every encounter is a reflection of your inner world projected onto the canvas of reality. The people you meet, the challenges you face, the opportunities that arise, they are not accidents or tests from a distant universe. They are mirrors, faithfully reflecting the vibration you are embodying in this moment. Napoleon Hill once wrote that the world has the habit of making room for the man whose words and actions show that he knows where he is going. What Hill was describing was not motivation, it was resonance. When you live from clarity, the field of reality rearranges itself to match your frequency. What seems like things falling into place is actually coherence becoming visible. Everything in the physical world begins as a vibration. Every event is born from an energetic blueprint created by emotion and thought. When you shift that inner blueprint, the outer pattern must follow, not as a miracle, but as a law. The universe is not deciding what you deserve, it is mirroring what you are being. Joe Dispenza calls this the feedback loop of consciousness. The quantum field is always listening, not to your words, but to your emotional signature. You might say, I want peace. Yet if your body vibrates in anxiety, the field receives anxiety as your dominant broadcast. It then arranges people, conversations, and outcomes that match that vibration. In this way, your reality becomes the direct reflection of your coherence, or your lack of it. There is no coincidence because there is no separation. The energy that flows through you is the same energy that holds galaxies together. The mind sees boundaries, but consciousness knows continuity. You are both the observer and the observed, the projector and the projection. Neville Goddard taught this with simplicity and depth. The world is yourself pushed out. What you perceive is the echo of your inner state reverberating through the infinite field of creation. If you want to change what you see, you must first change what you are, not by effort, but by vibration. This is why transformation never begins with behavior. Behavior is the surface. Vibration is the foundation. You can act positive while vibrating in fear, and the universe will still respond to the fear. But when you shift the inner frequency, when gratitude, faith, and trust become your baseline emotions, the outer world cannot help but reflect that harmony. The mirror of reality is neutral. It does not punish, it does not reward, it reflects. The reflection changes only when you do. And that change begins not in what you do, but in what you believe yourself to be. The 99% try to find signs in the world. The 1% realize the signs appear naturally when the inner world aligns. They stop chasing messages and start embodying meaning. They no longer ask, what is the universe trying to tell me? Instead, they ask, what vibration am I broadcasting right now? Because they understand that the universe doesn't send messages randomly. It mirrors your state with absolute precision. When you live in coherence, the coincidences stop being surprises. They become confirmations. Life begins to feel orchestrated, not chaotic. You walk through your days with quiet trust, knowing that everything you encounter is responding to your vibration. Even delays and detours carry wisdom, because they are reflections of what still needs to be harmonized within you. The ego calls this dangerous. If reality mirrors me, then I am responsible for everything. But responsibility is not blame, it is power.
The moment you realize that reality is your reflection, you stop being a victim of circumstances and become a co-creator of them. The external world becomes your teacher, showing you where your energy flows freely and where it resists. This understanding transforms everything. You begin to see that love attracts love not as poetry, but as physics. Fear calls to fear, not as punishment, but as resonance. Gratitude multiplies because it stabilizes the vibration of abundance. The mirror cannot reflect anything but what stands before it. And when what stands before it is clarity, truth, and faith, the reflection becomes beauty itself. So the next time something synchronizes in your life, the message that arrives at the perfect time, the person who says exactly what you needed to hear, the event that seems impossibly aligned, don't ask why it happened. Ask what in you has become coherent enough to recognize it. Because reality has always been mirroring your consciousness. You just hadn't yet looked with the eyes of awareness. And when you finally do, you'll see there are no coincidences, only reflections. And every reflection is love finding its way home.
There is a sacred intelligence woven into your body, a sensitivity that has never lost contact with the field. While the mind wanders through questions, the body already knows the answers. It listens not through logic, but through sensation, responding instantly to vibration. The purpose you search for is not hidden in the world. It is vibrating through you, waiting for your awareness to slow down enough to feel it. Every coincidence, every moment of alignment is not a puzzle to be solved. It is an invitation to come closer to presence. Before you ask, "What does this mean?" ask instead, "What do I feel right now?" Because the emotion that arises in the presence of synchronicity is the language the universe speaks to you. Meaning comes later. Feeling comes first. The body is the most honest instrument of perception. It cannot lie about vibration. When you are near what is aligned with your purpose, your energy expands, your chest opens, your breath deepens, your thoughts slow. When you move away from that alignment, contraction sets in, tension, unease, a quiet resistance that whispers, "Not this way." The body does not debate, it simply knows. Napoleon Hill spoke of the sixth sense, the intuitive faculty that connects you directly to infinite intelligence. Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden would say that this sense is not mystical but measurable. The heart's electromagnetic field extends several feet beyond your body, constantly exchanging information with the world around you. You are always communicating with the universe. The question is whether you are listening. The simplest way to return to that communication is presence. Breath is the bridge. When the mind races, the field becomes blurred. But when you breathe consciously, deep, slow, deliberate, coherence begins to reappear. The brain waves slow. The heart synchronizes, and the signal between your inner world and the outer field becomes clear again. Presence is not about forcing the mind to be silent. It is about allowing it to rest. You do not have to stop thinking. You only have to stop believing that thought is the only way to perceive. Awareness is much larger than thought. It includes the subtle hum beneath words, the rhythm of existence itself. When you practice presence, you stop trying to control meaning and start participating in it. You no longer demand that the universe explain itself. You begin to feel that every moment, every small detail is carrying significance, even when it doesn't make sense yet. This is how purpose reveals itself. It does not arrive as a plan. It unfolds as resonance. It appears not in noise, but in neutrality. When you stop pushing to find it, it finds you. Because purpose is not discovered.
It is remembered. It has always been encoded in your vibration, waiting for the moment when your awareness becomes quiet enough to hear its melody. Try this. The next time a coincidence catches your attention, a word repeated, a number sequence, a familiar pattern, pause. Before your mind tries to analyze it, take 3 slow breaths. Ask your body, what is this frequency asking me to feel? And then say nothing. Simply listen. The response may not come as thought, but as warmth, stillness, or a subtle shift inside you. That is the language of the field. Over time, this practice transforms your relationship with life. You begin to realize that you are always being guided, not through signs that demand analysis, but through sensations that invite trust. The mind interprets meaning, the body experiences truth. And when your awareness merges with your vibration, purpose stops being a concept and becomes a presence. You no longer need to chase meaning, because you have become meaning itself. The most profound truth is this: the universe never hides your purpose. It waits for your coherence. When you inhabit the present fully, the field begins to move with you, not ahead of you. You walk, and the path appears beneath your feet, one step at a time, illuminated not by certainty, but by connection. Nothing in your life has been random. Every breath, every delay, every coincidence has been a breadcrumb leading you back to this moment, the place where awareness meets energy and purpose finally remembers your name.
Science and spirit have been walking toward each other for centuries, and now they meet at the same truth. Faith is not only a belief, it is a biological state. The body itself responds to faith. When you believe, truly believe, your cells expand. Your heart rhythm becomes harmonious. Your immune system strengthens, and your electromagnetic field radiates coherence. When you doubt, your energy contracts, your cells retreat into defense, and your frequency becomes distorted. Bruce Lipton describes this beautifully. Our cells are antennas, constantly reading the environment of our thoughts and emotions. When you live in fear, they receive a signal of danger and prepare for survival, closing, tightening, protecting. But when you live in trust, gratitude, or love, those same cells open, communicate, and expand. They become creative, adaptive, alive. Faith is not invisible, it's measurable. The body translates energy into biology, emotion into chemistry, vibration into matter. Napoleon Hill describes this beautifully. Our cells are antennas, constantly reading the environment of our thoughts and emotions. When you live in fear, they receive a signal of danger and prepare for survival, closing, tightening, protecting. But when you live in trust, gratitude, or love, those same cells open, communicate, and expand. They become creative, adaptive, alive. Faith is not invisible, it's measurable. The body translates energy into biology, emotion into chemistry, vibration into matter. Joe Dispenza extends this understanding further. He teaches that when you maintain an elevated emotion, gratitude, joy, love, aligned with a clear intention, you become a coherent field of information. The heart and brain begin to synchronize, and that synchronization radiates into the quantum field like a beacon of order. In that state, the accidental disappears. Life flows. What once seemed coincidence becomes communication. You stop trying to manifest your purpose because purpose becomes the natural byproduct of coherence.
You no longer chase alignment, you are alignment. Your outer life begins to mirror your inner harmony, and faith stops being something you practice. It becomes the frequency you live in. The divine plan has always been written into your energy field, waiting for your biology to remember it. Every time you choose trust over control, every time you breathe instead of react, every time you pause instead of panic, your body rewires itself to faith. This is the biology of awakening. Napoleon Hill called this state applied faith. Not faith as hope, but faith as a vibration. A living, breathing certainty that connects you to infinite intelligence. He understood what science is now proving. Faith is not an emotion. It is a field. It organizes energy, shapes outcomes, and bridges the invisible and the visible. Nothing in your life is random because consciousness cannot be random. Each experience, each message, each person who crosses your path is part of a precise orchestration designed to mirror your growth. The universe never misses its mark. Every message finds its rightful receiver at the perfect time, not earlier, not later, when the frequency is ready. If this message reached you, it's because your frequency was ready. This video, these words, this moment, they are not coincidence. They are a coded reminder that your faith has begun to activate, that your vibration has aligned with the intelligence that has been guiding you all along. You have never been lost. You have never been off your path. You have only been learning how to listen. And now you are listening. Nothing is coincidence. Every detail is divine geometry. Every silence is guidance. Every delay is timing. The universe has never once made a mistake in delivering what belongs to you. When faith becomes your state, purpose becomes your reflection. You do not need to search for signs anymore because you have become the sign. You are the proof of divine precision, the living echo of coherence between thought and emotion, between intention and surrender. So breathe. Feel the stillness beneath these words. Let this realization settle deeply. You are exactly where you are meant to be, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because of resonance. This is not just a message, it is a mirror, and it is reflecting the truth that has always been within you. You are not reading these words by accident. You are remembering. And when remembrance becomes your vibration, life itself begins to speak through you, effortlessly, gracefully, divinely. Because nothing is coincidence. It never was. It was always love, guiding you back to yourself.